Hey, Joe.
Yeah. Do we have to record this?
Yes, it's so we have a record of it.
Okay, I guess that makes sense.
I just hope we make it by noon. I want to make it back to camp by sundown.
Yeah, agreed. We should be good. It looks like we only have a couple more kilometers left.
Oh, awesome. Should we do a little introduction?
Sure, yeah, let's just stop up ahead. You rolling?
Yep.
Okay. Hi, I'm Joe Wheelock.
And I'm Megan Rice.
And it's May 19th, 2018. We're out here in the middle of the Sierras looking for an artifact that we know only as the Sphere. So about 5 months ago, we were sent this map with a weird riddle written on the back. At first we thought it was a joke, but as we started to do some research, we now believe there's actually an artifact out here of immeasurable power. We don't know why it's here or what it does, but we're here to find out. So let's do it. Okay, you can stop rolling now. Is that all right?
Yeah, it was really good.
Awesome, because I have no idea what I just said.
My theory is it's some sort of like sound generating device.
I mean, that'd be pretty cool. I just hope that we actually find something out here that's worth the trip.
Wait, do you see that up there?
Yeah, looks like a little clearing.
What the f was that?
I don't know. Is that like an orchestra rehearsing?
Oh shit!
Listen. Over there.
Wait up!
It's getting louder. This way. Yeah, we're going the right way. We should be really close.
Yeah, head towards the shrieky noise. What could possibly go wrong?
This is the spot.
Why do those sounds stop?
I don't know, but the sphere should be around here somewhere.
Okay, I'll look over here.
I found it. It's the sphere. What the?
Ah!
Megan! Help!
Joe?
Megan! I can't hang on!
Joe? Joe!
Hey, Chris.
I think I figured it out, Megan.
What?
The sphere.
Are you serious?
Absolutely. I think we're in a Jumanji situation here. We just have to finish what was started and everything will revert back.
Oh, thank God. I just want to get Joe back.
I know. I can't imagine what you've been through the last 3 years. I'll do whatever it takes to get him back. You still have the sphere, right?
Yeah, of course. So how's all this gonna work?
Okay, so a few weeks ago the commissioner reached out to me about reviewing libraries again. He came over and gave me this book. When he handed it to me, he said,
With this guide you shall overcome any obstacle. Just follow the steps as they have been written.
So, you think the key to this whole thing is in that book?
I do. You see, 3 years ago, on the same day that you and Joe found that sphere, VSL released their string effects library. The thing is, it never got any proper coverage or review. The steps in this book were never completed. I think they're interconnected. It can't be a coincidence.
Okay, so all we need to do is follow the steps in the book?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. The good news is, I'm about to do step 1.
Which is what?
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for joining me. Today's video is going to be a little bit longer than usual as we're about to do a deep dive into an older VSL library that came out back in 2018. I'm talking about VSL's SYNCHRON FX Strings 1. Now I should note, this is a demo version of the library that I'm using, but it has all of the same functionality as the full version from VSL's website. Let's get to checking out some cool sounds. SYNCHRON FX Strings 1 was originally released back in the early summer of 2018. It features an enormous array of articulations and microphone options that brings the total size of the full library to 52 gigabytes, and it retails for 395 euros. As usual, the only difference between their standard and full licenses are the number of microphone options that you'll have access to. The standard version contains 33 gigabytes of content and costs 225 euros. VSL has provided 10 categories of articulation presets that ranges from full-on textures to clusters and rises. All of the content in this library features a 50-piece string orchestra, and it's all powered by their SYNCHRON player. Let's check out all of the preset categories and see what they bring to the table. When you first load up an instance of the SYNCHRON player and navigate to your FX Strings 1 library, you'll find all 10 categories of articulations. Browsing through the patches, you'll notice some universal naming schemes such as reg, H-trim, and pont. These stand for regular, harmonic tremolos, and sol ponticello. Depending on the types of patches, these playing styles can also be broken up into different lengths, as is the case with the Glissandi patches. Let's take a look at the special pads patches. These patches can be categorized as your bread and butter longs patches with a twist. The vertical trim patch has a very glassy harmonic tremolo sound due to the players bowing up and down the fingerboard. The breath sustains have a nice harmonic tone to them, with the players bowing very fast with little pressure. And finally, we have the Hades sustains. These samples were captured with the strings tuned down a minor third, giving them a really dark, woody character. For me personally, these special pads act as the glue to bridge the gap between the more traditional articulations and your avant-garde or textural patches. There are 3 different Pizz FX patches: Cluster, Gliss Up, and Random. The Random patch features detuned pizzicatos randomly played in different tempos, creating an extremely versatile percussive string texture. As you can see on the keyboard overlay, the patch is broken up into low and high string sections with a slow, medium, and accelerando option. The Gliss Up patches are more straightforward. They are one-shot hits where the players plucked the string and glissandied up the fingerboard. You can adjust the releases to fit your compositions. The newly added stretch tool can also come in handy if you want to utilize these in a more sound design type context. Finally, The Pitts cluster patches. Like the Glissandis, these are one-shot hits. They are simply clusters, meaning the players played random pitches, allowing for a nice, dense atonal hit. They are wonderful for accents and stingers. The Harmonic FX are broken up into two types. You have natural and artificial. The basic difference between natural and artificial harmonics is that natural harmonics are played solely on open strings, while artificial harmonics can be applied to any finger position on the fingerboard. The first patch in this category is natural harmonics rubbing in both standard bowing and tremolos. These are tonal textures with subtle detuning motions to create dissonance randomly through sustained playing. These are great for subtle tension building. The natural harmonics clusters work similarly to any tonal longs patches, with the caveat being that each player randomly played a pitch, creating a very atonal, dissonant sustain. The natural harmonics gliss patches are longer one-shot samples that create the beloved seagull effect, which is what happens when you glissandi on the fingerboard while playing a harmonic. The sound is vaguely similar to the shepherd's rising tone. These patches are broken up into three types: up, down, and cross. The cross style is basically both up and down being played together throughout the section. The last patches in this category are the artificial harmonics. VSL has recorded glissandi up and down samples for each strings. As you can see on the keyboard overlay, each playing area represents the individual string, and those have been broken up between low and high. VSL has also provided both slow and fast versions of these playing styles. Having this level of control over the sound of string glissandis is wonderful. I found that most one-shot glissandi samples sound extremely dense and become recognizable in many productions. The added layer of depth that VSL has provided certainly gives these patches more longevity for me. Here is where we start to get into the deep end with this library. The cluster patches are broken up into three types: short, long, and gliss. Furthermore, VSL has recorded different playing styles within those, such as regular, sol ponticello, and tremolo. Not all of these patches have them, but most do. The glissandis have the added layer of lengths between slow and fast. Let's take a look at the cluster long patches. As you can see, these feature all three playing styles, and the best part is that you can configure the SYNCHRON player to crossfade between these styles independently from dynamics. The way you do this is by setting up a stack in the matrix window. Because this player is so powerful, you can literally control how these blend together, whether it be a programmable fader or via velocity. Personally, I like to use a fader, which is what I have set up here. CC1 controls my dynamics, while CC8 controls my blend between the three playing styles. Just make sure each articulation is set to crossfade in the parallel mode located in the options section of the edit page. This type of feature alone in this library is what makes it for me. I love having this ability to just blend between different playing styles as one would with a real orchestra. The rise and hits category feels slightly misleading to me, as the only hits I found in this section are the ending accents, which you cannot trigger independently from the rising samples. Like the previous section, these samples feature only two playing styles, which is regular and trim. However, they have been broken up into different articulations: fingered legato, détaché, clean, dissonant, and steps. Each of these also feature a slow and fast version of them. Let's take a listen. This section is a doozy. Most of these samples were recorded at 3 speeds: slow, medium, and fast. Some feature super fast. This is another category where you can blend between the playing styles to create a more unique sounding rise that varies in styles. The only issue is some patches aren't 100% balanced to each other, so you might get some bumps in volume here and there. Let's check some of these out. Again, these types of samples are so common in cinematic scoring that no effects library would be complete without them. Here we start to get into the main event of this library, the various textures. All of the textures from here on out were all recorded with regular, harmonic tremolo, and sol ponticello variations, giving you a wide range of applications for these patches. The character textures are just a wide range of recorded phrases in various moods. The scan phrases are arpeggios that randomly vary between fourths and fifths. The swarm textures feature a strong bowing pressure near the frog of the bow. The whispers are aleatoric melodic ornaments based on the Ionian scale. The dialogue textures are rhythmic and melodic aleatoric clusters with random pizzicatos thrown in, which creates this chaotic chatter among the strings. The BTB, or behind the bridge patches, are clusters that utilized the BTB plane style. These feature both regular bowings and arpeggios. The crawl textures captures the player's bouncing on the bow of the strings, which creates a rather unsettling sound. The last texture in this category is the action patch. This patch was designed to be high energy and over the top. This patch is especially good at adding chaos to any sequence. Finally, the meat and potatoes of VSL's flagship string effects library, the Spherical Textures. There are 7 types of these textures, all recorded in 3 different styles: regular, harmonic tremolo, and solponticello. The first 2 are high and low. The lows feature low-range sounds with harmonics, while the latter feature high-range sounds with harmonics. The lows result in a very glassy texture, while the highs have a more strained sound to them. The next spherical texture is Pulse. This one features pulsing aleatoric harmonics. I really like this patch for those sequences that need a high level of tension building without much happening on screen. Imagine, if you will, a wide shot of a forest that we slowly zoom in on. This patch is great for giving a sinister character to something rather mundane. The next patch is the Suspense texture. This can be used similarly to the Pulse, but the difference is this one features detuning effects and octaves, creating a wall of unsettling sound. The Agile textures kick it up a notch with chromatic ornaments played aleatorically. The level of randomness is great for inducing fear and chaos. Every time Hey Megan, what's up?
It's the sphere. It's waking up.
What?
Yeah, it's behaving like it did when me and Joe found it.
Wait. When did this start happening?
Just a minute ago. I called you right away.
Megan, I don't know how to explain this, but I need you to get over here right away. I'm gonna keep going with the checklist from the book, but just get over here and bring that sphere!
You got it.
Okay, so these spherical textures are pretty wild. They're basically pulsating effects with aleatoric elements containing both rhythms and various bow changes. It's far more interesting in context than on paper. The next spherical texture is the Call texture. This patch features fourths played in staggered rhythms. To me, this is a more light-hearted sounding patch. It creates a level of openness. However, if used in the right way, you can create unsettling results. The last spherical texture is the Wave patch. This features legato sextuplets played around the Lydian scale. So here we are, the last category. Like the previous section, this selection of patches features all of the same playing styles and patch names, but with an added layer of insanity. The main Spherical Textures featured mostly per-note recordings. This category recorded these textures in a chord known as the alpha chord. The alpha chord is basically two diminished seventh chords played together but separated by a whole step, which encapsulates the diminished scale or octatonic scale. Not only did they record these textures as a chord, but they went the extra mile and recorded the first inversion of them, just to give composers an extra level of control. As you can see, these patches are broken up by section and chord type, root and inversion, on the keyboard. VSL's SYNCHRON FX Strings 1 is definitely in a class of its own within the aleatoric orchestra realm. This library has a very clear design, and the attention to detail within each category is superb. I love that they didn't just record one technique and move on. They went in and recorded up to 3 vastly different playing styles for each long articulation. I never thought I'd come across a library that would allow you to blend between these styles so seamlessly. Usually you're greeted with nasty phasing issues, poorly edited samples, and the list goes on. VSL paid extra attention to these issues and brought us an effects package that is incredibly deep, yet extremely user-friendly. This library is not without its downsides. To me, it lacks a lot of aggression that could be milked out of a 50-piece string section. Despite the zeitgeist calling for those wispy and ice-cold string textures, a lot of what they captured felt restrained in the upper dynamics. I wish there was one more category of regular bowed hits that could give us the ability to play more sinister, fast-moving tonal lines. The full version features an insane array of mic options that feel more cumbersome than useful. Having control over the close mics for each instrument feels more of a hindrance to my workflow. However, the main mics work and sound well, which makes me feel like the standard version is good enough for any professional composer. If you are that type of composer who likes to explore surround sound design, whether it be in 5.1 up to Atmos, then the full version is where it's at for you. The level of control that you can have over this library is pretty intense. For those who caught my first episode that covered SYNCHRON Brass, you'll notice that I love the SYNCHRON player. It's definitely one of the most advanced playback engines on the market. The level of control you get over your workflow is superb, and so far, it has performed extremely well on my system. As it stands, SYNCHRON FX Strings 1 is a bargain for what it contains. It may come off daunting when you first load it up and start to dive in, but give it time. The world of possibilities are quite endless with what it can do. I'm curious to see what they'll come up with if they ever produce an FX Strings 2. I can only hope for a more aggressive take on this one. Thank you all for watching. Take care. We'll see you on the next one.
I've got it, Chris. I have the sphere.
Holy shit! Why is it glowing?
It's been doing this ever since I called. What do we do?
Okay, put it over there on the couch.
Hurry, Chris. I don't know what the hell this thing is gonna do next.
It's the library. We've got to trigger the Spherical Textures. I believe it's the only way we can open up the gateway between us and wherever Joe is.
How can I help?
I'm gonna need your hands on those keys because we're gonna trigger the alpha chord.
Oh,
When I tell you, you're gonna play a C sharp diminished 7th chord, okay?
okay.
Let me know when you're ready.
Okay, I'm all set.
Now! When I say play a C diminished 7th chord above that one.
Okay.
Now!
Megan? Can you hear me?
Joe? Is that really you?
Yes. Keep playing those chords. The gateway is opening, but it needs more.
More? How can we get more?
By creating stacks. Give me a minute. All I have to do is set up the interface so that I can layer in more spherical textures. So when I say let go of that chord and then play it again, okay?
Okay.
You ready?
Ready.
Yep. I'm ready too.
Then let's do this. Now!
Joe?
Megan?
Oh, I thought I lost you forever.
I know. It's so good to see you again.
You too, man.
Hey Megan, next time we go hiking, you find the sphere.